No one else through the door. I'm a hoe, get along, it's no choice. Just stay with my car, got no horse. Got a plan, so way in the foreign. Load a motor on Reagan, eat Porsche. She love me, her panties get moisture. Got a wear no bags on her boy shorts. Get exotic, get import, export. I got a lot on my pantry, she ride like a banshee. You ain't got no play, you pay tons like you man. And watch this little one-on-one, then she be dancing. My step be outstanding, and baby got short hair, but she ain't got counts. Made it rain on the dancer, she was so thankful. The Reaper took little man.
Hey y'all, so welcome to my channel for one. And okay, I'm gonna start off by prepping the nails. And since it's on my fake hand, I'm prepping things a little differently. I'm excluding some steps. So right here, I'm just using my my fine coarse sanding band, and I'm removing the shine from the nail plate. Just think of this as the natural nail. I'm removing the shine before I add my tips. Okay, so next step is add my tips, and right here I'm just sizing it and trying to get the right size that fits exactly from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want it too small because then it'll pop off, and you don't want it too big because then it's gonna get on your skin. So you have to make sure your tip fits perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. And right here I'm sanding the inside of the tip because they're so difficult to stick to the fake hand. They don't like to stick, so you gotta create friction between that and the fake hand. So buff the fake hand and buff the inside of the tip. Okay, after a lot of trial and error, I finally got all my tips on there. So right here, this is something that I wouldn't do on a client. I'm just adding a layer of clear over the tip before shaping it to the shape that I want it, because the tips will pop off the fake hand very easily. So I'm just adding a layer of clear just to harden up that line where the tip meets the fake hand, just so I can ensure that when I'm filing to get it to the shape I want, that it doesn't pop off, because I mean, yeah, it's just very difficult to get the tips to stay on the fake hand. At least for me it is. Okay, so next I'm filing and shaping the nails. I already shaped the first two fingers, and I chose square as the shape I wanted. For this finger, I'm doing stiletto, so I'm just cutting off the edges with my scissors. And now I'm gonna shape it with the file to get it into the stiletto shape that I want. And to achieve stiletto, you just do a deep cut with the scissors or nail clippers, whatever you choose to do. You do a deep cut, and then you file it the rest of the way out. And then I'm going to do square on the last finger. When shaping, I use an 80 grit file, and this is just going to ensure that my shape is sharp an 80 grit. The lower the grit, the more aggressive it is. And so I also make sure to hold my file as straight as possible when doing shapes like square, coffin. Well, when doing any shape, hold it as straight as possible in the direction you need it to be, because that's the way you achieve the sharpest look. Okay, so normally right here, if I was working on a client, I would blend the tip. And that is when you just file between where the tip meets the natural nail to make sure that it's flush with the nail. And then I would add primer and dehydrator before applying my acrylic. I'm really just freestyling the look that I want. So right here, I'm just doing marble. And when I do marble, I add my colors. I use very wet beads. And I just throw the colors on there on top of each other, and I swirl them around like you see me doing right here. I swirl them and swirl them, and that's the thing with marble. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. You just make it look how you want it to look. You know, just swirl them until you get the effect that you want. Decided that I didn't want to marble the whole the whole finger, and I wanted to do ombre with a nude color and transition that nude color into the marble. And so when doing that, I work with kind of a bead that's on the wetter side, not too wet, not as wet as the first beads I use, but not dry either. And I just did that, and I blended that bead down, and as you can see, I'm just blending it until it looks how I want it. Now, I mean, people just have different perspectives on this. You just blend it until it blends exactly how you want it to blend. You know what I'm saying? It's no secret formula or anything. You just blend, really blend until it looks like how you want it to look. Be your own judge. On this finger, I'm just doing something different. I'm doing like a blue and purple blend at the top, and then I'm gonna end up ombreing that with the nude color as well. So when I'm blending this blue and purple, I'm just taking each color and doing them side by side and kind of just swirling in the middle, just so it kind of just looks like they're kind of just swirled into each other. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the nude color, and I'm gonna ombre that down into those two colors, just like I did on the first finger. keep in mind for my acrylic beginners, after you lay that bead down, well, after every bead you lay down, once you lay it down and then you blend it out, each and every bead. That's how you do it. And after each bead, please keep your brush clean. You see how my napkin down there is getting dirty? It's because after each bead, I'm wiping. You wipe that excess acrylic out of your brush, because if you don't, it will dry in your brush and you won't be able to get it out without soaking it. It'll mess up your brush. And honestly, long story short, you're gonna have to buy a new one. So keep your brush clean. Wipe it. Keep it white. You see, after every bead I lay down, I wipe, and I wipe it good. Like the same thing I did with the first finger when doing the ombre, I'm just using as much and blending it as much as I feel I need to, just to get it to look how I want it. On this finger, I thought about doing an ombre down the finger with all the colors, but I kind of did something different. Okay, so instead of ombreing the colors, I kind of just stacked them on top of each other and blended them into each other, like with a little marble effect in between each color going down. It's something different that I haven't done before. I tend to do that a lot. And so, see right here, you see me putting the purple into the blue and kind of swirling it down. I decided that that would look better instead of just ombreing them straight into each other. Also, make sure that every time you're putting a bead down, you see how like excess will overflow on the sides. You wipe the sides of the nail as well with your brush, just so you're keeping your shape and you're eliminating as much foul time as possible. That's key, is keep your shape when you're doing your application, so that you don't have to just file. Try your best to keep your shape on the sides and not to bulk it up at the top, so that you can just file as little as possible and make it easier on yourself. On this finger, I'm just doing the same thing that I did with the finger that I did the blue and purple side by side. I'm doing red and orange side by side, and I'm blending that down with the ombre as well. With the nude color. And so when I'm freestyling, I just really take it finger by finger. It's no formula to this, like I said before. Like, you really just, this is why I like doing nails. It lets me just use my creative mind. I love creating and art and everything else. So just use freedom of mind and do what you think looks good. Okay, so this is how the nails look after I've applied the acrylic the colored acrylic. And since I'm doing ombre and blending all these different colors, it is important that you cap it and clear. You encapsulate the nail, and that's when you use clear acrylic like I'm doing right here, and you put it on top. And I'm using this to build my apex as well. Since I did ombre, I didn't build my apex with the actual colors. I'm building it with the clear. And in a minute, I'm going to do a close-up and show you exactly what an apex looks like. But you're capping it in clear so that when you file, you don't mess up that ombre or mess up that marble. And right here, I'm showing you the apex. The apex is the strength of the nail. You see how it looks? How it goes from thick to kind of thinner at the bottom. That thick part right there in the middle, that's the apex. And you got to make sure you build that apex so the nail doesn't snap or yada yada yada. Say hey to my sidekick, y'all. Okay, so I went ahead and I encapsulated all the nails in clear. And right here, I'm just showing you how they look after that. Okay, so right here, I'm just going back with that 80 grit file, and I'm reshaping the nails because when you're applying acrylic, you kind of lose that shape. So I'm reshaping each nail into the shape that I need it to be in. after reshaping, I'm gonna go back in with my sanding band. My drill bit, and that's a ceramic drill bit. It's a coarse grit drill bit, and I use that to go around the edges. It is not a safety bit. It's sharp at the edges, so you need to be careful when going around the cuticle. I go around the cuticle to make sure it's no flooding going on, and to kind of thin that down and get it looking how I want to at the cuticle. Then I go up under the nail and I get rid of that excess, and I do the top of the nail as well, and I just file that until it's smooth at the top and it's no bumps, lumps, ridges. This is where I'm getting rid of all of that. One thing I learned from my teacher in nail school is right here. You can't see me physically, but I'm turning the nail, so I'm looking at it from a side angle, and that's key when you're like filing or when you're trying to build your apex. You turn the nail or you turn your head, whatever works, and you look at the nail from a side angle to make sure that the apex is built and you've gotten rid of all them bumps and lumps. And so right here, I'm just showing you how it looks. I file all the nails, and I'm going in with my buffer, and I'm buffing it until it's smooth. If I was doing a client right now, I would have on gloves, and what I do is I take the top off, like I pull the elastic off the top of my thumbnail, exposing my thumb when I'm working with gloves on, so that I can physically feel each nail after I buffed it to make sure that it's smooth. Okay, so I buffed every nail off camera, and right now I'm just going in with a little lint-free cotton pad, and I'm going over each nail with acetone. Normally with a client, I would have them wash their hands right now, but since it's a fake hand, I'm just going over it with some acetone just to remove all that dust and stuff before I get started with on the designs and top coating it and yada yada. Okay, so I'm gonna add some stones, and to add my stones, I use my Mia Secret brush on gel resin, and I use the activator spray. And that activator spray that I showed you, it just dries that resin in place to make sure that it doesn't move. And then I'm using my wax pen that I also showed you. And when it comes to stone placement, I just do something random. It's no formula, you know what I'm saying? I just place the stones how I feel they need to be placed, and that's about it. setter spray like you see me doing, and I fan it off a little bit, and that just like locks the glue in place. I decided that these would look better matte, and so I do have a matte gel top coat. I'm just gonna apply that to each of the nails, and after I get done applying that to each nail, and when you're applying it to the nails with the stones, like if it was a shiny top coat, honestly I would put it on top of the stones, but since it's not, I'm just gonna make sure I go around them just so I don't remove the shine of the stones. And once I get done applying it, I'm just curing it in the lamp for 60 full seconds. And this is my finished look, y'all. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe.